This is Seahawks Stories, 50th Season Edition, presented by Emerald City Athletics.
The conversation celebrating 50 seasons of Seahawks football continue, and quite honestly, I have no idea how long I am going to be able to wrangle the trio that is with me today. Welcome in. I'm Jen Mueller alongside Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, Bryan Walters, and we have one goal in mind today.
Stay on track.
And that is, yes.
Let's do realistic goals, Jermaine.
Goal number 2 is to talk about what I consider and what many Seahawks fans consider the greatest comeback in the history of Seahawks football that took place January 18th, 2015. It was the NFC Championship game against the Packers. I was on the sidelines. You guys were on the field. So let's jump into this. Doug, why are you already... It's the look on your face. It's the recall.
No, I'm just grateful to be in the room with my people. Just that's the look that you see.
The peoples that you are with.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you guys talk about this game? Does it come up in conversation? Does it come up with each other?
How often do we talk about it?
Not ever.
I bet we would talk about it a lot more if we would have won the next game.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Did it come up, though, when the Seahawks had their big comeback against the Rams a couple weeks ago? Because there's a lot of fans saying, hey, that was the greatest one. And I'm like, hold on a second. There was one that was crazier than that. Did you guys find yourself reminiscing?
A little bit. I mean, I went to the game, and it definitely felt, pretty reminiscent of that game as well. I mean, we were down. Well, I'm talking about this last game. We were down what?
More than
16.
You had been down, in the fourth quarter and come back for a win. Meanwhile, in that NFC Championship game against the Packers, it was 19-7 in the fourth quarter. When you think back, how do you tell the story of how that game unfolded? Just kind of high-level highlights. How do you tell that story?
Resiliency in the receivers.
It's so serious.
Am I? Resiliency in the receivers, I would say. We had
a fun game.
We had a fun game. It was a struggle for a while, and I think just there's a lot going on. But then to be able to pull it out at the end and send us to the next Super Bowl, I think it just represents who the receivers have been the entire time with the Seahawks during that era.
Well, why did it feel like such a struggle?
It just felt like you couldn't get a break. I think the whole game, passes, everything felt like it went into the Green Bay Packers' hands. I mean, when you put it that way, and it's just constantly just kind of trying to play catch up. That's what it felt like. The defense was I felt like backed up every single time because it was like 5 turnovers, if I remember. Was it 5 that game?
Yeah,
I think 5
I had
total?
a fumble on kick return.
That's right.
Yep.
And I had 4 targets and 4 picks.
It's just sometimes you can't control that stuff, though. It just doesn't go your way, but that's why there's 4 quarters to it, right? The first 4 turnovers in the first half, I believe, is what happened. So just dug a hole.
So when you say that, though, I remember the feeling on the sidelines, and I remember my feeling. You're right. We're never going to catch a break, man. We're just fine, whatever. Play out the string. We're never going to catch a break. Jermaine, how specifically do you stay in that game?
You have great teammates.
Great answer. That's a great answer.
No, you have great teammates. Doug was at B-Wall. They were always there encouraging. So, it's when you have people like that, it's pretty easy to kind of stay in the moment. Obviously, we had to keep going back out there, so you have to have a level of composure and be able to still perform at a high level because there was still a lot of game left, and that was just kind of the focus.
And we'll get to that game-winning catch in just a little bit. But also what I remember of those teams were you guys were fourth-quarter teams all the way around, right? Every phase of the game, it was a fourth-quarter team. So when you get to the fourth quarter of that game, does anything change mentally, right? Does the vibe of it change? Does the intensity of it change? Because you know that you have done that and come back in that situation before?
Oh, you asking me?
I'm just looking to see if anybody is nodding.
Pete always preaches, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think that just kind of was an example of us buying into that Even my rookie year, I think it was 2012. We ended up losing that game, but we were down to Atlanta by 21, and then we actually took the lead in the fourth quarter. So I think that game right there kind of ignited something in us to just continue to battle to the very end. And I mean, there were other games where we would play Tampa Bay. We were down 21 at half, and we came back and won that game. So I think it was just kind of like in our DNA as we continue to preach on it and continue to try to execute on it.
I think as you build the culture and as you build this, I mean, all of us expected to win. I mean, you win in every game, and if we didn't win that game, all of us were shocked. And the perfect example to that, unfortunately, is the next game after that NFC Championship game, and that was the Super Bowl. And I'll never forget this moment. Probably one of my most vivid memories of that Super Bowl game. Everything else is kind of washed out. But the second that interception happened, came back to the sideline, sat next to Doug. I remember sitting next to Doug, and Doug's like, there's no way we're losing this game. There's no, like, it was this belief. No matter, I mean, the writing was on the wall, but there was still that belief something was going to happen and you were going to win that game no matter what. And yes, that didn't work out for us, but like, you go back to the NFC Championship game, it was still that belief. No matter all that stuff that happened in the first half, like, there was never a doubt that we weren't going to turn it around and end up winning that game. And that was kind of the mindset that the team had.
Yeah, I would say, go back to Jermaine's comment about in our DNA. I think it was just a psychological makeup of the players on that team. Everybody came from situations where they felt they were appreciated, undervalued, right? Undrafted guys in that room, like, trying to make an impact on the team. And so I think when you get to the fourth quarter, you had all these guys who had been, for the lack of a better phrase, underappreciated, underrespected in those moments, in those clutch moments to come through. And we all felt this chip on our shoulder to prove our doubters and also the opponent that, no, we're here and we're for real. And so to have that opportunity week in and week out in the fourth quarter and to put ourselves in a position to be able to take advantage of it, I just think it demonstrates who we were at the core of who we are as humans.
I also think it goes to show, because there were some guys who made some big plays that were a little bit unexpected. You had John Ryan throwing for a touchdown to Gary Gilliam, right? Another one of those. Like, yeah. I mean, Gary Gilliam is famous now. Before, and you always knew, right? He's there, right? He's reporting as eligible, but that's a big play. And then Chris Matthews recovering the onside kick. I mean, how many times had you guys worked alongside Chris Matthews? He's busting his tail out there. And I remember talking to him after that game and saying, man, you had to know that this was coming just based on the work that he put in every single day of practice.
And it showed the next game, too.
Yeah.
That was the big one. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about those plays and how that game was won, first of all, how long had you guys been sitting on that trick play, that fake field goal? Do you remember?
I didn't even know it was called.
I was just going to say that.
I didn't even know it was in the playbook. I mean, we don't do a lot with field goal and field goal block.
Right.
We're doing our own thing. Yeah. So when that was called, I'm just like every fan in the house there.
Yeah, I was just as shocked.
Yeah, I think it had been in for a couple of weeks. I remember seeing it, but yeah, we practiced it. It wasn't something that we just pulled out just that day.
No. But like, you're waiting in those situations. You're just waiting for that moment. And so often when you hear the play call, you're like, okay, like, we know it's going to work because you've been waiting for this moment. When Chris Matthews recovers the onside kick, where are you guys on the field at that point?
Sideline.
Yeah, sideline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sideline, yeah.
Did you have a clear view? Did you know right away, or were you waiting for somebody to tell you?
I saw it, clear view. But to B. Walt's point, I kind of expected it. Didn't you expect it?
Yeah, and what was there? 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Is that?
I'd have to go back
I really
and
do.
look
It was after the 2 minute or before the 2 minute warning. I remember that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
No matter, I don't know if the game's actually over if we don't get that onside kick.
Yeah.
Like, I think the defense we'd have like 20 seconds left or 30 seconds left as an offense, but
we're gonna get it.
We're gonna get it. Yeah. No matter what, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
But that just helped a lot.
Yeah.
So you get to overtime. And
Can I bring up one other play that I think is very underrated? Is the Luke Wilson 2-point?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like not a
Shout
lot
out
of people
Luke.
talk. Yeah, that's my guy.
Shout out to Luke.
I mean, because they ended up kicking a field goal to tie the game. Like, we don't get the 2 point. They kick a field goal to win it.
And that was not an easy catch.
No, it was a broken down play.
It was like backyard Flyers up. Remember that game, Flyers up?
Yeah.
Just everyone go over there and throw the ball as high as you can. Whoever comes down with it, like that's what we used to play as a kid all the time.
We had a different.
Yeah. I was like, is this going to...
Just being honest.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think what that would have been. I didn't have a different name.
But when you see that ball, you see that ball going in the direction of Luke, right?
I was right there, and I watched it all. And I was like, I can't believe how Clint Dix didn't make a play. Like, he kind of watched it with me. And all I remember was Luke's touchdown celebration because I did it with him. Like, it was a huge play.
Then we've got another huge play. We get to overtime, right? You guys win the toss. That's really important because it's not the same rules that you have today, right? Both teams are not guaranteed a possession. We tend to jump to your play, but without Doug's conversion on third down, was that a 35-yard pickup on third down, I think?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay.
Bang, bang. Back-to-back plays, right?
Those were big plays back-to-back.
From the two guys, by the way, who had really challenging quarters before that.
Yes.
I want to add something to this. And Jen, when you started this, you said, "Hey, I was on the sideline, you guys were on the field." I want to say, playing behind these two guys, I was on the sideline almost as much as you were because these guys played like 94% or 95% of the snaps that game. So they didn't want to come off the field. So I think to me, one of the most impressive things about that is these guys are playing every single play. A lot of special teams too. Remember that? Pete loved everyone playing special teams. You guys were returning kicks. You were on special teams covering kicks. And they were on the field the whole game. It comes to overtime. You're gassed. You're tired. You played the entire game. And then you make big plays like that. To me, that's the most impressive part of it. Because, trust me, I'm there itching to get in. Like, Doug, you need a break? Come on, I got you. He's like, nope. And these guys just didn't come off the field. Like, that's why I'm there, to help them, give them a breather. But they played almost every single snap. I think the only snaps they came out when it was, 22 personnel or something, where there's not a receiver on the field and so that's the most impressive part about that is you do that, game's on the line, you're gassed, you've already played 70 offensive plays, whatever it is, and you make plays like that. To me, that stands out more than anything.
Well, and going back too, you did that expecting to get the ball after a tough game, right? After both of you had a tough game. It is why this is one of the very few pictures I have that is in my office and behind my Zoom background. You remember this one?
I do.
You remember this one.
Fondly.
So after the game, let me just say this. Here's what happens. And I'm going to play you the interview in just a second. So Jermaine catches the game-winning touchdown pass. I run after Jermaine. Jermaine is being swarmed by national media, right? And teammates, and there's helmets flying, and it's crazy. So Jermaine's running to the other side. Doug is closest to me. So I grab Doug and I start this interview. Well, in the middle of the interview, Jermaine comes over. So now I back out and those two are having a moment. But here's the moment that we all had together.
Jen Mueller on the field with Doug Baldwin.
Doug, I can hardly catch my breath. I don't know how you caught that, but what was Russell's message before that drive? Because
He didn't have a message. He didn't have a message. We go out there, we do.
Jermaine Kearse has joined Doug. You can tell, pardon the language, it is extremely emotional down here. As you can see, the emotion and
I've
even
never
the tears
heard this.
coming off of Jermaine
So
Kearse's
good.
face. Russell throws 4 interceptions today. All of them have targeted Kearse. Kearse, how does it, what were you looking for
I'm
on that
probably
route?
crying here.
Hey, I know I didn't make all my plays, but when they count, I make them.
Is that a redemption touchdown for you?
Hey, let's go!
And guys, we'll get that back to you as there is a crowd of people. That was Russell Wilson's voice that you heard coming in, telling Jermaine Kearse he loved him.
Jermaine,
I've
you've never heard that?
I've never heard this. Or that, yeah.
Great time.
I blacked out, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I've ever been breathing so heavy into an open microphone. What was I doing on that one? It was nuts.
Celebrating with everybody else.
It was nuts.
It was a special moment. Overtime to go to the second Super Bowl, and to do it in the, memories, good memories.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that mob at the end in that end zone with the crowd.
Mm.
gosh, yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
How long did it take you guys to realize, Jermaine, you said you blacked out. How long did it take you to realize truly what had happened and the magnitude of that play?
I mean, I think I finally like kind of came back when I was on the stage with Pete, and I looked at Pete, and I think I was still crying, and Pete was like, "You're still crying." And I was like, yeah. I think that's kind of when I kind of came back, but yeah, like after that play, it was all blur.
But you could feel the energy swell right at well, I would even say before that play.
Well, I mean, I think just all of that was just like, I wouldn't say like a sigh relief, but like just kind of a release of like so many like kind of like built up emotion like going throughout. Like obviously like for me, the way the game was going, and then you kind of get to make a huge play, and then then you see the people that you're doing it with, and who you're out there battling with, and like our relation, obviously you can see like our relationships are still pretty tight, even 10 plus years from now, from that moment. But yeah, it was just kind of a release of emotions of something hard and difficult, and being able to overcome, and Pete always talked about grit and being able to like show that something that we've always tried to continue to work on, and perseverance, and overcoming adversity, and that was just kind of like the relief of all the work that we put in to overcome certain things like that. That's kind of just what that was.
How much of a difference did the 12s make in that? And I'm thinking about this year's current team having home field advantage, right? And sometimes you say it and you're like, yeah, it's home field advantage. Hey, that's great. You don't have to travel. But having been in those games, how much of an impact does the crowd have in some of those moments?
No one wants to come to Seattle. Like, that's the thing. I think you just know every team that comes into this stadium does not want to be there. And the 12s to me, like I've played a lot of other play. These guys, Jermaine, you played where? New York?
Mm-hmm.
And where else? That's it?
Detroit.
Just New York?
Yeah.
Detroit.
Right? Okay. And then Doug, you're different, I guess. One team, one career, or one career, one team. Pretty impressive. But played a lot of places. And the 12s are smart fans. Like, and they're also consistent fans as far as you go play, and I played some away games in Kansas City, all that. They're loud for like the first quarter, and it's rocking, and it's loud, it's crazy, but then it just kind of fades off. And then, come third quarter, everyone went in for, grab a drink or whatever, and then, the crowd kind of doesn't come back, and it's just like a normal game. The 12s are just different. They're there the entire game. Like, and I know that's an NFC Championship and all, but it was the whole entire year, third, fourth quarter, they're there just as much as they are at opening kickoff. And I think that's what I came to appreciate about these fans and the crowd. And they're smart. They get the game of football. They do a really good job of calming down when we're on offense. And then when that defense is on the field, they pick it up like it's clockwork, like it's nothing. So smart fans and consistent fans are there the entire game for you. And unlike anywhere else I ever played.
I'll piggyback off of that and say I think it's also part of this region's DNA too. You've got a lot of people, organizations that feel like, and I think I forget who else said it recently, like we're up in that corner, Yeah. It's not a lot of appreciation and respect for what is happening up here in the Northwest, or Pacific Northwest, I should say more specifically. And so you've got fans who feel that too. And so when we're in the NFC Championship game, right, obviously that's where you can feel it, I think, more broadly and more nationally the most. But for us who have been playing it for, in that stadium for a number of years, to B-Wall's point, it was consistent, it was smart, but I would say it was authentic energy. Mm-hmm. Authentic energy, and y'all know when you meet somebody and they give you some energy and it's like, it's not really coming from a place of substance of really knowing who I am and like really rooting for me. But when you have the authentic energy being shared and given to you, it does something to you. Like those, the warm-ups on the field, right before the game when we get in the huddle and we start jumping and you can feel the crowd jumping with us. That vibe is something special, and you can't replicate that outside in the real world. Yeah. So yeah, to B-Wall's point, it's definitely special.
You remember the crowds that built up when we left for the Super Bowl and when we came back from the Super Bowl and just whatever the drive was from the airport to VMAC, it felt like there was fans lining, miles of fans. And that's, you speak to the authenticity of the fan. I mean, that's,
They
you
still
have
line
to
up.
be.
They are still there
still
when
there?
we leave. They are still there when we come back.
It's awesome. Yeah. But
It's a lot
like
of the
nothing
same
I've ever
fans.
seen.
Y'all crazy up here.
But you know what? Here's the other thing that kind of comes to mind. When you're up in the upper left-hand corner, it also feels like the identity is the same because you want people to take you seriously, right?
Yeah.
And so from a wide receiver standpoint, right, because you guys got knocked, I was just looking at rankings where experts thought the Seahawks were going to finish in 2025 is nowhere where they were. And it just feels like everybody all together is like, no. Pay attention. We're for real. And you just kind of get behind each other and show us a little respect. Give us a little bit of credit, right?
Yeah.
Because that wide receiver group never really got the credit it deserved until, I think, looking back in hindsight. Am I right on that?
I would agree with that for sure.
That it's taken some highlights in the
I'd agree.
it's taken some highlights and looking back.
For sure, but I would say I don't think to the level and degree of appreciation that I think the receiving core earned. I don't think we'll ever get that, and that's okay. I'm not mad about that. It is what it is. But you've got starting receivers playing special teams, blocking punts on special teams, returning kicks for touchdowns. Like, you got guys who just wanted to win, and we didn't necessarily. Obviously, we didn't get the attention and the accolades because we didn't throw the ball as much. And I would say, arguably, we cared about it in the sense that we wanted to contribute to the team's victory, but we weren't so concerned about our gaudy numbers, right? And so we never really fought for that. And so because we didn't fight for that, because it wasn't a big deal to us like that, it didn't become an issue. But to Jermaine's point, as he said, when you're in the fourth quarter or overtime and you need a play to be made, guess who was there? And whether it was in catching the football or special teams or doing something else, I don't know. And 2 Super Bowls back to back. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
I think so. I'd say so.
Let's put a bow on this conversation and let's try to bring this full circle. I know that you guys do not spend your entire days in real life right now talking about your football careers. But when you think about some of these games, particularly that NFC Championship game and the way that it finished and the resiliency, that was the word you used, Doug, that it took, have there been points in time since then when you look back and remember, no, I can do really hard things where I am against the odds and I have to come through, and it has come out in different areas of your life now?
For sure. I think so. I think so every day.
Yeah.
Give me an example.
I got 3 kids that are
That's where I was going.
that are 8, 5, and 3, and trying to do that the best you can. Starting a business with no business background.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is a lot of the stuff that speaking for myself, that I build the foundation of a lot of things I do is based off of building it around a culture that I was around here. So everything that I've learned here is what I'm taking to every avenue that I have in my life after football.
Yeah. Exactly what Jermaine said there, except minus the kids thing, because I'm waiting for their kids to get older, then I'll have kids, and then they'll be my babysitters.
That's a really good plan.
I'm smart when it comes to that.
Smart, yes.
Did CC agree to that?
Yeah, she's all on board with that one. But as far as every single thing after football, I'm not bringing up. I didn't. When I was with Jacksonville and so forth, it's like there was no culture there that you really bragged about. And this is gonna sound awful, but it wasn't anything I was like, wow, I'm going to base my life on this, right? This Seahawks, the experience with the Seahawks and these guys, some of your best friends for life. and what we all went through, how good we were, the accomplishments, like that's stuff that I'm rolling on now to, like Jermaine said, starting a business. You're trying to bring those same principles to that. And I didn't get that on other teams. You know, I'm not saying, oh man, when I was in Florida, we did this and it worked really well, and I'm gonna lead this to this real estate development project. No, it's hey, in Seattle, this was our motto. You know, we were Seahawks 24/7, whatever it was that Pete preached every year. But it's like, I'm gonna use that because that's really good. That makes a lot of sense to me, and I can carry this on, to these guys who are building this for me or whatever it is, and that just continues to go. It's something that people, if that can relate to everybody, I think, and everyone can use at some point.
Yeah, Jermaine and I was talking about this the other day, and one of the pillars of how we move now, especially with families, protect the team.
Yeah,
right. Like you apply that. That was part of our a pillar in our culture with the Seahawks, but now as family men raising, me specifically raising 3 daughters, same as Jermaine, protect the team, make decisions that protect the team, and the way I look at that is just, you're looking at the team as a whole and each individual within that team. And I think what was special about our culture was that you had folks who really cared about the individuals on the team. I was talking to Ricardo Lockett yesterday. You got guys who genuinely care about each other, who have genuine relationships, and who want to see each other do well in whatever light that is. And we still have that camaraderie. I saw B. Walt on TV the other day, and I was talking trash about his outfit because I know he didn't pick those clothes out. But but because you have a genuine love for guys, right? It increases the capacity in which you're able to go and do the extra mile or that extra inch, right? Like I may not go make that block if I didn't care about Marshawn, right? Like, am I gonna go in there and mess up my shoulder or But because you care about these guys, like, nah, this safety is not gonna touch my running back. And it's just a different mind shift. And that slight change, that slight adjustment, that slight different approach, I think is what led to us to have so much success and is what is leading us to have, I would like to say, grounded success in regular life on a day-to-day basis.
I could talk to these guys all day. Now you know why they are such incredible Seahawks, human beings, what they're doing in the community. My favorite, Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, Bryan Walters, thank you so much for the conversation. That'll do it for another episode of our Seahawks Stories 50th Season Edition.